Me today is a veteran salesman and leader. Don Hurley began his career in sales being awarded Rookie of the Year way back in, what year was that?
Probably 1983.
1983. Wow. From there, Don rose to Midwest Regional Sales Director in 4 years at H.J. Heinz, and at Macmillan Publishing, Don skyrocketed division sales by a staggering 400% in a single year. That's pretty impressive.
That was fun.
Needless to say, Mr. Hurley has a proven track record of shattering goals. A master of growth and organizational strategy, he now helps others maximize their potential. Please welcome the man who knows how to move the needle, Don Hurley. Don, thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what that was like way back in 1983. What was sales like when you were getting into it?
Well, it was pretty scary. I just had a new baby, and this was total commission, this job. I was a fundraising salesman,
Okay.
and so I didn't know if I could sell or not, but I knew I could work hard.
Yeah.
So what I did every day was drive to the very edge of my sales territory
Okay.
and call on every school and club and daycare that I could.
Okay.
And it was different back then because you could walk into a high school or an elementary school,
Yeah.
which you can't do today.
Sure.
So I just worked hard, and by the end of the year, I had sold more programs than anybody in the company.
Wow.
And I think part of it was sheer fear, just trying to make sure I could pay the bills.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So what were you selling at that point?
So I was selling fundraising items that we would sell with brochures,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
remember, right? So maybe the band had sell cheese and sausage for a trip to be in the Macy's Day Parade, or the cheerleaders needed new uniforms,
Cool.
right? Or the daycare wanted to add something new,
Sure.
and they would send the kids home with those brochures.
Cool.
And that's how it worked. I'd go in and establish trust, and a lot of it was just learning how to figure out what their need was
Okay.
and showing them what I had, and asking them for the order,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. So I'm wondering what that was like. Um, just kind of, what I'm wondering is how you went into, like, how did you get Rookie of the Year that year? What were you doing differently that the other salesmen weren't doing?
I think I was making more calls.
Okay.
So I worked really hard,
Yeah.
and I didn't say no for anybody,
Okay.
right? And I think sometimes people assume, oh, they're not going to be interested.
Yeah.
But if you can help them, you really have an obligation to yourself and the company to ask.
Yeah.
All they can say is no. And
Yeah.
so I asked a lot. And I also studied the competition and saw where we were better. Now, they had some areas they were better, but I tried to
Sure.
highlight what we did that was strong and would help our customer.
Okay.
And I also was aggressive without being aggressive.
Sure.
So
You were persistent.
I was professionally persistent
Yeah.
and friendly,
Yeah.
but I would not be afraid to go in and knock
Yeah.
on a door.
Okay.
And sometimes people didn't want me to do that or
Yeah.
whatever, but I guess I took chances.
Yeah. Yeah. And it ended up working in your favor,
Right, I
obviously.
sold
Yeah.
more than any other rookie, so that's
Yeah.
how I got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So how did you compare to some of more of the veterans in that space?
I think I was probably in the middle.
Okay.
A lot of those guys had relationships already with big
Sure.
schools, so they had that business. They kept it as long as they did a good job.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it really helped me just to get that award. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it,
Yeah.
but it built my confidence.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was fortunate, I think.
So, in those early years, what was the best lesson that you learned?
I think probably that if I worked hard,
Okay.
I could be successful, and if I had a good product to sell.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for all salespeople to realize, if they have a good product and what the benefits are to the customer if they buy the product or use their services.
Yeah.
And I learned how to ask questions.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I asked the right questions and they had a need that I could fill, then I would go ahead and ask for the order. But if it wasn't a good match, that
Hmm.
was okay. And I also learned that it wasn't personal when somebody said no to me.
Yeah.
It's just that it wasn't the right time
Yeah.
or we weren't the right solution. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell everybody. I learned that. And
Yeah.
it's a good thing because I couldn't handle selling everybody,
Sure, sure.
right?
And ultimately, not everybody needs what you have.
Right.
However, there are people who do need what you have. I've heard a lot of salespeople say it's not no, it's just not yet, or something of
Right.
to that effect. Um, have you found that to be true in your experience?
I have. What I tell people is that we're building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us are not in, if you're in a transaction sale, then that's another area. But mostly I was in relationship building.
Okay. What's the difference
Well, a
there?
transaction, you'll never probably sell that person again.
And is this like the way that you would go about selling? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's my approach
Okay.
when I say it's not no, it's just not now.
Yeah.
That refers to the fact that I'm building a relationship with someone,
Sure.
and that way I stay in touch with them. I
Okay.
develop a professional way, like you said, to be
Yeah.
professionally persistent,
Yeah.
and I just keep in touch with them
Hmm.
in a professional way. And then when that need arises, then I'm there. They're familiar with me. They
Yeah.
trust me.
Okay. Yeah. Versus a transaction sale, which is more like going into the conversation expecting to get something out of it. Is that where you see the difference, or
Yeah,
how
it's
to?
kind of a transaction is more of a one-off. If
Okay.
I was, unfortunately, a lot of car salesmen,
Yeah.
they approach it as a transaction when it
Okay.
really should be a relationship
Yeah.
building sale because those people are going to need a car
Hmm.
again in the future. But
Sure.
I think they see it as so far in the future that they're
Yeah.
not going to bother building a relationship.
Sure.
What they fail to understand is they can get referrals from that
Yeah.
too.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So then, you do that for a couple of years. How long was your time in between your first company and then H.J. Heinz?
I did fundraising sales for a couple of years, and
Okay.
then I saw an ad in the paper for a sales executive
Okay.
for the H.J. Heinz company,
And what
and
is H.J. Heinz?
they're the ketchup company, Heinz
Oh,
ketchup.
okay. Okay, yeah.
Kraft has bought them since I left,
Yep.
but I knew that that was a more stable job. It had a
Mm-hmm.
salary plus a commission, a company car, and
Wow.
benefits, so it
Okay.
was quite a step up.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I did a lot of research on the company.
Yeah.
And prior to that time, I had been a co-manager with Kroger.
Okay.
So I had some contacts. And I think my homework, along with my experience already in the grocery industry,
Mm-hmm.
positioned me so that I could convince them that I had some experience that would be valuable for them.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think when salespeople are looking to change jobs or industries, you need to read the job description and
Mm.
really understand how your past experience fits what they're looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you were positioned well into going into that role, and then what was that experience like for you in those years?
Well, it was fun. It was nice to have a car. It was nice to have a
Yeah.
salary, right? And so it took the stress off financially.
Yeah.
And they're a big company. I got a lot of support. I had good products.
Hmm.
So for me, it was just really working hard,
Yeah.
developing relationships with the accounts that I called on.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just the personality that's cut out for sales. I'm very
Hmm.
competitive
Yeah.
and I like to talk to people. I like to win and I like to be persuasive.
Yeah.
And when you have a good product, you can do that because when you make a
Yeah.
sale, it's a win-win.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what I like about it. I couldn't
Yeah.
sell for a company if I didn't believe in their product,
Yeah. Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, so I began and then calling on stores, and then they promoted me, and I started calling on the Kroger headquarters and some big
Okay.
wholesalers.
Yeah.
And because I did well in the stores,
Yeah.
they would chart how much I was selling, And so then they moved me to major account sales, and then
Okay.
I did that for a couple of years, and was able to get some new items in that other people weren't able to get in
Yeah.
across the U.S., and they
That's
promoted
cool.
me to manage the Midwest.
Wow. That's awesome.
So we came up here in about 87,
Okay.
and then yeah, I managed the Midwest. I had salespeople
Yeah.
and regional managers that I managed,
Okay.
and yeah,
So is that when you moved to Indiana
yes.
from Virginia? Okay. Okay. So you got promoted, and then if I mean that was probably a really huge time for you, right? I mean, you're probably how old were you roughly in that time period?
Early 30s, 34,
Okay, so
33.
you were at that point, you were in your groove.
Yeah.
You were How long do you think it took you to get to that point where you felt like you're really confident in your sales and your selling ability?
I would say each job has a little transition
Sure.
where you're not really confident at first
Yeah.
because I think it's important to really be an expert in the business that you're selling. So I had to really understand the categories I was selling into.
Yeah.
And I had some categories where we had Heinz baby food and Gerber was dominant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I had to learn how to try to compete in categories that I wasn't as strong. And then the ketchup basically sold itself,
Sure.
right? And then I had vinegar and pickles and other categories that I managed for the company.
Yeah.
And so I had to be an expert, become an expert in those categories so I
Yeah.
could talk intelligently and
Yeah.
give good advice to the buyers.
Yeah.
So it takes probably 6 months or a year
Yeah.
to really become a category and industry expert in a new industry.
Hey, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to Hurley Business Consulting for sponsoring today's episode, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about what they do. You ever wish that you were more organized and had systems in place that resulted in more appointments and closed deals? I gotta tell you, I've used their sales momentum system, and it has helped me dramatically to gain some consistency and develop the routines in my business that I gotta do every week. Using the sales momentum system, you'll land more of those meetings with your ideal customers and close more of those deals. This is a repeatable system that has been proven to work for even the worst procrastinators and excuse makers, me. Sign up for a free 30-minute consult by visiting hurleybusinessconsulting.com, or you can give them a call at 317-490-2644. Again, thanks so much, Hurley Business Consulting, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into the episode.
Okay. So each transition, you would say it took you about half a year to a
Yep.
year. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. What was I'm sure over the decades that you've done sales, you've had some philosophy shifts. What is something what is a philosophy that shift that you had in the beginning compared to now?
Yeah, I would say it was mostly hard work and product knowledge and
Yeah.
industry knowledge that drove my success early on.
Okay.
In my later years, I really, as I took different sales courses, I took one with IBM, I took Sandler, I did several Covey, some Dale Carnegie. What I learned is that I really needed to find the pain that a prospect was going through.
Gotcha.
So I
Okay.
really learned how to sell, and it helped increase my conversion rate.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe I was closing 30% of my appointments. Now I was closing 60 or 70.
Wow. Because you're focusing on the pain point.
And because I was more aware of what type of clients really needed my help.
Gotcha.
So I wasn't wasting time with clients that didn't. And
Sure.
then when I got in front of one that I knew was a good match, if they had enough pain and they wanted to do something about that,
Yeah.
then I was able to gain them as a client. So it's really
Okay.
learning how to ask questions and listen.
Yeah.
I want to know, any professional salesperson really
Yeah.
wants to understand what's going on in their prospect's head. David Sandler, who I love, who's a sales trainer, said
Yeah.
a good sales conversation is like a Broadway play put on by a psychiatrist.
Okay.
you really have to try to understand what's going on
Yeah.
in your prospect's mind,
Yeah.
and then you can understand whether or not you can help them and then
Yeah.
help them make a decision.
Yeah. That makes
Sometimes
sense.
they have fears about, do I trust the company? Do I
Yeah.
trust the product? Is it going to give me the results I need?
Yeah. Sure.
Is it too expensive?
Mm-hmm.
Is my personality a good match with this guy or gal?
Yeah.
Right? And so you have to help them feel good about making a decision.
Yeah.
And if you
Okay.
know that you're offering a great service and you're going to have a lot of integrity
Yeah.
in offering that service, then it's a win-win. You just
Yeah.
have to help them make that decision.
That makes sense. Okay, so I mean, you've worked across several industries. You've been in fundraising. You were selling ketchup. Well, ketchup was selling itself. You were selling the Heinz brand, and then you got into publishing, and I mean, you've been in several different industries. Are there any pain points that you have found transfer into multiple industries?
Yeah, it's basically revenue,
Okay.
right? And so it all stems from revenue. And connected to that would be not having enough qualified prospects in your pipeline,
Okay.
right? And then also conversion rates, not closing enough of the people you talk to.
Gotcha.
So it depends on the sales team and the training they've gotten.
Sure.
One thing that is really lacking in companies nowadays is sales training.
Okay.
The sales managers have a laundry list of 60 things they manage in their job.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
try to hire people with experience, even if it's another industry,
Mm.
so they can hit the ground running because they don't have time to really train them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why sales trainers, the right ones, are really valuable because they can step in and understand, after spending a little time with a person or a team,
Yeah.
really what they need to work on. If they watch them sell, if they watch them work,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they can help them create the habits and the skills they need to close the business.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, it all stems from revenue, not reaching the goals that the companies want to reach, or, um, I mean, not making enough money to sustain their business, that kind of thing,
If it's
right?
a small business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because normally you'd be working with established businesses already, right? In at least in the fundraising and like the Heinz situation,
Right.
you were working with school
Macmillan,
corporations
I called
or
on Barnes and Noble and
okay.
Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I worked with small trucking companies when I worked with
Mm,
Celadon and
okay.
larger trucking companies
Okay.
as well who needed equipment. So
Okay.
as a I also worked as a financial planner. So financial planning was sort of like what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
and it relates to a lot of small companies that are trying to grow and scale. Anybody who's trying to build a small company or a
Yeah.
practice, they need the skills to understand how to do that and juggle all the balls that they need to as a small business owner.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot to do, and like me, I didn't come into business as a salesperson. I came into business more as a marketer, which they go hand in hand, and we'll get into that later. But it's still not the same. It's not quite the same skill set. And so how has that been in the coaching world, kind of shifting to maybe working with some l- less established businesses? How have you seen the way you sell become different, or yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think what I found myself doing is being sort of a business coach and a sales coach
Okay.
and a marketing coach.
Yeah.
Now, marketing is something that I try to farm out because I feel as though even though it's two sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
it's a specialty.
Yeah.
And but with a small company who doesn't have a lot of support, I try to help them understand the basics of what they need to be doing
Yeah.
in
Sure.
in all the areas. Where when you're selling to a big company, it's different. They're just buying, your product or service.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So would you say it's more relational then?
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
really a coach too,
Yeah.
right? A business coach and a sales coach when you're working with smaller companies.
Yeah.
if they're real small. I mean, if they're doing a couple $1 million and they're
Yeah.
fairly successful, they know their business. It just depends on the personality of the owner.
Yeah. Makes sense. So what made you decide to become a coach?
Well, I've always been a coach
Yeah.
when I've been a manager. So even with large companies like the H.J. Heinz Company, Macmillan Publishing, I had sales folks, but they all had their own individual quotas.
Okay.
And in some instances, I had mine, and others I reached my quota through them,
Sure.
right?
So you train your team to reach the quota.
Right. So
Okay.
I had to make sure that they had a sales plan, that they knew how they were going to reach their goal. If they
Okay.
were running short, then we had to put a strategy together to close that gap.
Okay.
So they would make their number and I would make my number. So
Okay.
that takes looking at your sales and your
Yeah.
approach every week to
Yeah.
make sure you're on track and you're spending your time doing the right things.
Yeah. Okay. I'm also interested because you've worked a lot then in the corporate world too, or at least with corporations, selling to corporations, that kind of thing. What how do you I'm wondering what the how the driving forces are a little bit different between like corporate sales and non-corporate sales, because I think what I'm getting at is in corporate sales I would imagine there is always a higher number to reach, right? Like a higher quota. Um, if you beat this month's or if you beat this quarter's number, next quarter is definitely going to be higher, and so on and so on. How do you handle that? How do you handle that tension in that space?
Yeah, I think it's first of all, you want to know what success looks like for your buyer.
Okay.
In a corporation, you want to find out and just ask him or
Yeah.
her, how are you judged?
Yeah.
What does success look like for you?
Okay.
Right? And they have to make the right decisions about products and services they buy.
Yeah.
And so it's really understanding how they're measured. And also with corporate sales, many times the decision making process is a little different with each company. So it's
Sure.
important that you ask, you know, number one, how are decisions made at your company,
Yeah.
right? And then also, number two, who's involved in that decision?
Okay.
So you have to know who really can say yes, who might be an influencer,
Yeah.
right? And so that way you have to understand exactly who has input into making the sale. You have to sell each one of those people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you have to understand, how the decision is made,
Yeah.
how many meetings, who has to say yes,
Okay.
so that you're tracking it and for instance, in your CRM, after a meeting, you're going to put down what's the next step
Yeah.
based on how they make decisions in their company.
Okay.
In a smaller
Yeah.
company, usually the owner's making the decision.
Sure.
So you really just have to understand what's going on in his head, what's
Yeah.
most important to him,
Yeah.
and what
It's interesting.
criteria is he going to use to make the decision.
Yeah.
Because sometimes buyers will bring up an objection, but it's not even related to the criteria they're going to use to make the decision.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
you have to sometimes defer that objection and remind them that you told me that, A, B, and C were the things you were going to look at to make the decision.
Okay.
I understand D might be important, but it's not going to be used in making the decision.
Sure. That makes sense.
So you really have to be on top of how decisions are made.
Okay. And do you see, I think something that I hear a lot is that corporations are very, very money focused. Do you feel like that is accurate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're under the microscope when you
Okay.
work for a corporation.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you don't reach your numbers, you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of pressure
Sure.
because generally these jobs are highly sought after, they pay well,
Yeah.
and they hire people who they believe can produce.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then compared to small business structure or something like that, what do you feel like is the stressor for them if corporation is really, revenue focused, obviously there's revenue focus for a small business as
Sure.
well. But what else do you see being the stressors for them?
Yeah, for smaller companies, it's going to be that they are asked to do too many things
Okay.
and they don't have the support
Okay.
that you would have in a corporation. So the stress comes from having to solve problems all the time
Gotcha.
while getting the job done,
Yeah.
while generating enough revenue.
Yeah.
So they end up working till 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of stress. People leave because they're not being paid as much as maybe someplace else.
Yeah.
And so turnover is a big stressor as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. I want to get into your coaching a little bit. So you said that you've kind of always been a coach. What so it was a pretty easy transition for you to get into this, sales coaching, financial planning coaching world. What has that been like, not working under a company? How has that been for you?
Yeah, it's been great actually.
Yeah.
Not having a big number
Yeah.
over my head all the time.
Yeah.
So I have more freedom
Yeah,
to
that could
do
be
it.
heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does. And I liked it. It's kind of a love-hate
Yeah,
relationship.
sure.
I'm competitive and I wanted to be the best.
Yeah,
And so that was fun for me, but also stressful.
sure.
Nowadays, I don't have that number over my head. I have my own goals,
Sure.
but it's a more relaxed atmosphere,
Yeah.
and I can really concentrate on doing exactly what I want to do
Yeah.
and selling a service that I really enjoy
Yeah.
and that I've had a lot of success with. So I have a strong belief that I can really help people,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that's very satisfying.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, okay, so I really want to get into your philosophy on sales and marketing and how they are, we were talking about they're two sides of the same coin. The first question I have is, so how over your years of experience, how have you seen sales and marketing work well together?
Well, the best example I have of sales and marketing working together, which it didn't always do. There was a
Sure.
lot of silos.
Yeah.
But at Macmillan Publishing, it worked very well when we were able to look at the market out there to see what was being offered by our competitors. And then we conceived products together with marketing, with feedback from the sales field and marketing
Okay.
to develop products that were superior to what was out there, the market leader.
Okay.
And so that allowed us collectively to bring a product to market that was far better than what was out there.
Okay.
And as a result, we were able to penetrate the largest accounts in the nation.
Wow.
And that's where our 400% increase came from.
That's awesome.
It was very satisfying
Cool.
to be involved
Yeah.
in that. Now, generally in corporate America, like with the H.J. Heinz Company,
Yeah.
you're not involved in marketing.
Yeah.
You may give some feedback from the field,
Sure.
but they basically are going to run TV ads,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah. Because they have the dollars to do that.
right.
Yeah.
And a
Even
lot-
nowadays, that's still very true.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And so what you do is feed off of that. So you will take your TV ad schedule into a large account like Kroger and say, we're going to run all
Sure.
these TV ads.
Yeah.
I'm going to present this new product and we're going to run ads
Yeah.
for 3 months after this. So generally what we're doing is forcing Kroger's hand a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean they need to take it, but generally if it's well positioned and well timed, they're going to take it on.
Okay. Yeah.
So, from a corporate standpoint, sometimes your job is easier,
Yeah. Sure.
but you're still not, generally, you don't have as much input into marketing. The smaller the corporation or company, the more input you have with marketing,
Yeah.
and the less siloed
Yeah.
those departments can be, which is really good
Yeah.
because they should meet on a regular basis.
Okay.
Marketing needs to know how their strategy is working in the field.
Yeah.
They need to know what objections we're running into.
Yeah.
If what we're saying is resonating with our prospects and clients.
Yeah.
And then it allows us to get together and brainstorm about
Yeah.
continuing or pivoting and making some changes.
Yeah. What were some things that your team did in conjunction with the marketing team at Macmillan that allowed that created that atmosphere for success? Like
Yeah.
practically, what were some things that you guys did?
Well, we would meet every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Marketing was in New York, and I would go up to New York from
Wow.
Indianapolis,
Okay.
and we would spend a day together,
Cool.
and we would
Every
talk.
other week.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And we would spend hours together talking about content and editorial issues,
Yeah.
hardcover, softcover, number of
Wow.
pages, right? And then I would bring from the field what type of literature and books were out there on those topics, what they looked like.
Yeah.
And then I would also, for instance, call on Barnes and Noble
Yeah.
and find out from the buyer what was selling and turning the fastest in that category,
Gotcha.
right? So then I was able to bring in what was already working, right? And we could dovetail that into our product development,
Huh. Cool.
right? And so that really helped. That was my most successful experience with marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. That year that you guys were really tight. I mean, I would imagine this isn't something that just happened out of nowhere. You guys were probably working together for quite a long time before you developed that,
Right. It took a little time,
Yeah.
but what I did actually is I used to be a category manager.
Okay.
In the grocery business, each section, like condiments or spices, those
Yeah.
are, those are categories.
Okay.
And grocery chains, big chains, they look at sales and profit per square inch,
Okay.
right? And so they're looking at the turns and the money each
Yeah.
SKU is making,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's the ones that aren't turning fast enough.
Right.
They're going to replace with something else.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Now in the book business, it's more of an artsy approach, and they would just put the books in, and see if they sold.
Yeah.
So what I did is
Within each category.
Right.
Like you have your horror, you have your sci-fi, like
right,
that.
business,
Yeah.
cooking. So what I did is I went in and I started analyzing the category.
Gotcha.
So I
Okay.
brought the grocery mentality to the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And I asked those questions and had my buyers really dig in and then share with me what was working.
Yeah.
And the way I convinced them was to say, look, we want to develop products that are going to turn fast for you.
Yeah.
But I need your help. I need to understand what's really going on in this category.
Yeah.
So I got them to share that. And then we brought that back to editorial and acquisition. And we looked for authors that would generate that type of
Yeah.
material that was hot now, that was selling now.
Gotcha.
And then, since I already had the buyer's input, when I brought those
Yeah.
books in, of course, they bought them because it was
Yeah.
their idea,
Right.
right? So we brought more of a business approach
Cool.
to an art type of
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. To an industry that wasn't using that type of sales tactic.
Sales per square inch. no,
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
measure that way.
Huh. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So I am also wondering how, in the age of social media, how have you seen, companies, large or small, doesn't really matter. How have you seen companies use social media in conjunction with their sales well? What do you think? How do you think companies can use that effectively?
Well, I watched my son, my oldest son, Michael. He has a warm up, and it is a company that helps other companies sell and get more people in their pipeline,
Yeah.
more prospects.
Yeah.
And he uses software stacks to do that. He also helps them think through their goals and what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And he has been posting on social media, and he also likes to network. So he knows a lot of people, and he's worked hard on building a network of people that he knows, that he
Yeah.
respects, and they respect him.
Yeah.
And these people are also influencers. So when he starts posting and he's getting an engagement from them,
Yeah.
what they're doing is they are seeing the value adds that he's talking about, and they can either use them themselves or they can refer Mike to other companies
Okay.
that they know could use his help.
Cool.
So it's been a way for him to get in front of the people he already knows, but also get in front of people that they know.
Yeah.
And, it's taken a consistent effort
Yeah.
over time. It didn't
Yeah.
happen right away.
Right.
And so that was one area that I've been the most involved with.
Okay.
So social media for me was something to enjoy, but I wasn't doing a lot of marketing.
Yeah.
So it's relatively new for me.
Yeah. How have you, what kinds of, like, let's go back to the Macmillan example. What kinds of marketing were they doing that you think have, maybe some of those benefits have maybe transferred into social media?
Well, the things that we did at both Heinz and Macmillan
Yeah.
we would have sales enablement.
Okay.
So we'd have brochures
Okay.
that we would use. We would also have we had a lot of samples. So we'd go in and if I was selling pickles, I would take the regional pickle people and I would put ours and we would sample. So
Okay.
with the buyer.
Yeah.
I would also with both companies we would go to shows.
Okay.
So once a month we'd be at a trade show. And
Gotcha.
that's where all the buyers come.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to get a meeting with upper management. So upper management would generally come to these because they could have a lot of meetings over a weekend or
Yeah.
3 or 4 days. And they could also see new products out there.
Yeah.
And so primarily the way marketing was done back then was television,
Okay.
if they could
Yeah.
afford it. And then sales enablement, food, food shows and trade shows.
Yeah.
And then it was basically just flying or driving and making appointments.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was going to their retail outlets,
Gotcha.
right? So I would do a lot of audits in Barnes and Noble or in Kroger, and I would bring them information back about what I was seeing out there.
Okay. Okay. So the marketing things that maybe have shifted are providing showing proof of your sales efforts or that kind of thing. Like I'm thinking if you're going to shows and that kind of thing, nowadays people would do a behind the scenes or would take pictures of being at the sales or the show and then posting that. And is that kind of what you're getting at, the more visual?
Yeah, I was thinking back then there wasn't a whole lot of social media going on,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so more recently, the social media is more about, it would be posting if they had a show or if they had an event,
Yeah.
and they would post and thank people for attending,
Yeah.
and it would keep them in front of prospects.
Yeah.
They would be connecting on social media with people that were decision makers and worked in their industry.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter, I think, that the social media efforts now that we're using, it really builds credibility.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, decision makers, that they look at someone who's posting and who's using social media and doing it well,
Yeah.
that they have it together.
Yeah.
Right? That they're organized, that they are successful already.
Yeah.
It's just an example of their professionalism.
Yeah.
And for salespeople, when you follow up after something that has been professionally done on social media,
Yeah.
it makes it much easier to get an appointment. They return your calls quicker. So the response
It almost
rate
creates
is
a
cut down.
warm,
It does.
like
It
a
is.
like a warm prospect.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my son's company's called Warm Up.
Okay.
And that's basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's how do you warm up
Yeah.
your clients so that you can ultimately sit down with them,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Cool.
And he would do it through email campaigns.
Yeah. Okay.
But now he's doing it a lot through social media marketing as
Yeah.
well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think it's just people are learning more about it.
Sure. Sure. Well, because also it's very new. I mean, in the grand scheme of sales, sales has been going on for thousands of years, since the beginning of time.
Sure.
Now modern sales tactics and all that kind of thing over the last 100 years have, shifted and all that. But yeah, social media as a major form of marketing has really only 10, maybe 15 years old. And I'm sure we'll see lots of changes, especially with, the introduction of AI and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Why do you think a lot of, especially small business owners, why do you think there is a resistance to investing in social media early on? Even if, because I have found that a lot of business owners see the value in social media, but because, it's hard to put like a dollar return value on it. Why do you why do you think that is why do you think there's so much resistance to investing in that, especially early on?
Yeah, I think it's because they don't understand social media.
Yeah.
They know it's important,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know how to start.
Gotcha.
And of course, money, everybody has a budget. They want
Yeah.
to be smart with the money they're spending.
Sure.
And so I think a lot of education has to go on
Mm-hmm.
so that they understand what's been done before with prospects and customers like themselves.
Yeah. Sure.
And they need to hear the success they've had,
Yeah.
right? And because if you're building awareness in a brand,
Mm-hmm.
which everybody wants a strong, respected brand.
Sure. Sure.
And so I think innately they understand that they need that and they
Yeah.
want it,
Yeah.
but they don't understand how long it should take to achieve that.
Sure. Yeah, the gap between investing in investing in a strong social media presence and getting the intended outcome, there is not that's not always clarified. Is that kind of what you're
Yeah, and
saying?
I think small companies need to understand
Yeah.
how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
And I think marketers need to help them put their toe in the water
Okay.
and educate them
Yeah.
and help them try things that maybe are small steps,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And then become comfortable with that,
Mm-hmm.
and then add something else,
Okay.
right? So I
Yeah.
think that's my personal opinion. That
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they just need to be educated and
Mm-hmm.
try small things first. I think it's hard for small companies to pay thousands and thousands of dollars
Yeah.
when they don't have a good understanding of what the results will be.
Yeah. Sure.
Right, but the reason they're talking to marketing people like
Mm-hmm.
yourself in the first place is because they know it's important
Yeah. Yeah.
and they believe it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, they see the value. It's not that there is no perceived value. I yeah, I've just found that, that is if you hire a salesman, it's much easier to say, all right, I'm going to pay this salesman this much, and the goal is to have them make me this much. And that's harder to do in marketing in general, I think. Now, if you're doing it with advertising, that's a little bit different. I pay for this many ads, and my goal is to get this much out of it, that kind of thing. But yeah, I just think that's really interesting. That's a very, common ongoing conversation in the marketing world. Yeah.
It might be advantageous to look at pairing marketing with sales in an approach to companies so
Yeah.
that you can do sales training and marketing training
Yeah.
and education together.
Yeah.
And because they need to be coordinated.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we talked about early,
Yeah.
we talked about at Macmillan the benefits of having a coordinated sales and marketing effort.
Yeah.
And if marketing companies like yourself can approach a company that has some salespeople
Yeah.
or efforts, it's important to really understand what they're doing on that front.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
how can the two link up together and be more effective?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's good. I've also heard a lot of small businesses, salespeople say that in the sales funnel, in a typical sales funnel, social media marketing is really beneficial for the top of the sales funnel. Would you agree with that, or would you say are there other areas that you think social media could be beneficial within the sales funnel?
That's a great question. I haven't thought about that. Certainly, it helps fill your funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also helps with building trust.
Okay.
And I think because of that, that will translate into a higher conversion rate,
Okay.
which means you don't need as many people in your funnel if you're going to close 60% versus 30%.
Sure.
So I really think that a good brand awareness strategy
Yeah.
helps me anyway, as an individual consumer,
Yeah.
feel more confident that what I'm building is going to satisfy my need.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense. And like what you're saying earlier, you know, I think what a lot of people think is that they think of the top of funnel because you have the ability, theoretically, you have the ability to reach people from all over the world, you know, and create these warm prospects so that when you start making calls, maybe you'll find someone who's seen your stuff before. But I think I have found, in my experience at least, that sales, it works really well when companies will use the engagement they already have from their social media and they contact those people. I think what I've seen a lot of people do is, you know, when anybody who's commenting or liking your post, or you can even see who, you know, uh, maybe I can't remember if you can see exactly or not who viewed, you know, your video or something, but whether or not you can see people who like and comment and share your stuff, to go through and start using those people or start contacting those people and saying, "Hey, I saw you liked this. You know, would you say that that's a reasonable way to use social media in your sales?"
Oh, absolutely. I think you can start contacting them and thanking them,
Yeah.
and then you can engage with them in any way that you feel might be appropriate, you know, following up,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of the ways that, you know, sales and marketing can work together, where marketing can suggest cadences and ways of reaching out
Yeah.
based on the interest level of a prospect, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that marketing can do that is really, that we haven't talked about that I think is really important is that marketing folks can help the salespeople and the company executives understand what they're all about as a company,
Yeah.
and what they're really what they pound the table about,
Yeah.
what they think is really important that sets them apart,
Yeah.
right? And so that has real emotional value. I think most companies, if I asked you and you were a company owner, you know, what's best about your company?
Yeah.
They're all going to have at least one or two things that, well, we really do a good job with this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take them long to get in touch with that, because they know that they're good at that.
Yeah.
And I think marketing can help them tell that story
Sure.
to their market, right? A lot of companies and salespeople maybe don't understand what their true value add is
Yeah.
and how they're unique.
Okay.
And then good marketing can help you reach out to people who also feel as though that's important,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
and that's going to help your conversion rate.
Sure.
So the
Makes sense.
story that sales tells can really benefit from talking to marketing and having marketing ask them questions.